What's going on, lads and lasses? Welcome back to the channel. So Saturday sees Newcastle United travel down to the Etihad, a ground where we haven't had the best of luck over the last few years. I've got to say, we haven't won down there since the 14-15 season, I believe it was, when Aarons and Sissoko scored in the League Cup. So it has been a while since we've won down at the Etihad. But Man City aren't looking that great this season. They've just recently come off the back of a 3-2 loss to Real Madrid, and then they've got to play them again on Wednesday. So that is going to be an interesting one because they have to then travel to the Bernabeu, where they're already 3-2 down in the game. So is Pep Guardiola going to want to, maybe focus a little bit more on that Champions League game against Real Madrid? Because if they lose that game, then they are out of the Champions League. So, is Pep Guardiola going to want to prioritise that game over this game against us in the Premier League? Of course, in the Premier League, they still need to get themselves into some good places in the league. But if they go out the Champions League, then that is it. They're out the Champions League. So that's a question that I'm sure we will see on Saturday when the team lineups come out for the Manchester City side, to see if, of course, Pep Guardiola goes with a lesser squad against us. And if he goes with a full squad, then we'll know what his priorities are and where his priorities lie. Then, of course, but they are going into this game with some doubts over a few of their players. Obviously, Rodri is still out. He remains sidelined since he picked up that injury, of course, against Arsenal this season. But some other doubts on Nathan Aki, Jeremy Doku and Edison as well, their goalkeeper, who is also a doubt over, of course, his availability going into this game. Jack Grealish and Akanji as well picked up some injuries in their 3-2 loss to Real Madrid. So there's two more players to add to the doubts going into this game. So looking at it, of course, it looks like it could be a really good time, fingers crossed, of course, to play Manchester City down at the Etihad. But looking at our team news going into the game, obviously Jamal Lascelles still remains out. Joe Linton is out as well, and Harvey Barnes as well. But there has been updates on the availability of Anthony Gordon, which looks like he is expected to return. Nothing serious with Anthony Gordon, of course. On the injury side of things, updates as well on Botman and Dan Burn are quite positive as well. Nothing serious there, but I don't know if Eddie will risk them or not. Probably will, to be honest, because Botman, I think, should be definitely playing in the game as long as he's fit to do so. Dan Burn as well, as long as he is fit to do so. Callum Wilson is set to make his 100th appearance for Newcastle United in the Premier League if he does, of course, play in this game, which I'm sure he'll probably come off the bench at some point. I would expect Isak, obviously, to play from the off in this game. And looking at it, like I say, we haven't beat them since 14-15 season in the League Cup. The last time a Newcastle United player scored at the Etihad was DeAndre Yedlin back in the 18-19 campaign. Of course, we ended up going on to lose that game 2-1. But, it is a chance for us to do something that, we haven't done in a while, as we aim to equal a club record, of course, of 5 consecutive Premier League away wins. We, of course, have never won a Premier League game at the Etihad in 19 previous attempts. So this is a chance for us to rectify that. And of course, we've only collected 2 points from a possible 57 at the Etihad as well. So this is a chance to rectify all them problems, get it sorted. We're coming fresh off the back of course, Carabao Cup action and FA Cup action. Of course, with the FA Cup being the last one we played against Birmingham City at St Andrews, which in the end we won quite convincingly, I thought. It was a very tough game as well, and I'm pretty glad to see that we haven't come away from that one with as many injuries as I thought we would have gotten, to be honest, because there was a lot of rough tackling going on in that game, and we are very, very lucky to come away with, still a full set of players. Thankfully the tackles weren't as bad to go on and injure players, thankfully. Touch wood there, of course. But going on to talk about this game against Man City, it's going to be a tough game, as it always is. It's Man City, it's at the Etihad. Like I've just said there, we haven't won there since the 14-15 campaign when we played them in the League Cup. So we're going to have to go in with a positive mentality. We're going to have to go in there and look to attack them from the off. If we sit back, then Man City's going to be able to attack us. But again, like I said earlier on in the video, we don't know how Pep Guardiola is going to line his squad up. Obviously, he's not going to go too soft because he is playing against ourselves. We are a very high attacking team, and we have been posing a threat to a lot of teams in the Premier League this season. But with that game against Real Madrid on the Wednesday at the Bernabeu, there may be a possibility that he will play a slightly weakened side, with his eyes being, of course, possibly on that Champions League spot and keeping themselves in the Champions League, of course, for a bit longer than, dropping straight out of it if they were to go into that game on Wednesday night and, of course, not be able to pick up the result at the Bernabeu. But let us know your thoughts anyway down in the comments below. Remember to hit like, share, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. Like I say, it's going to be a really, really tough game, but I do think we will have enough in the tank to be able to come away from this game with a positive result. If we can, of course, put our heads down, get the right mentality, get the right lineup going, get the right, game plan going as well. It all depends on how Eddie sets the team up and how we're going to the game. There's a lot of talk going around that, you might go with Kieran Trippier at right back instead of Tino Livramento. To be honest, at the moment, Trippier has been getting quite a few games for Newcastle because of the way he's been playing at the moment, and I think Eddie might once again go with Kieran Trippier in at that right back position, but we'll see what comes out on the team sheet, of course, on Saturday, of course, when the team sheets come out. But till then, remember to hit like, share, subscribe to the channel. My score prediction to come away from this one, like I say, it's going to be a very, very tough game, as it always is at the Etihad. Let's not forget, Man City is the team to beat, and quite a few people have been getting one over Man City this season, and hopefully we can be another team to do that as well, and add to the horrible season that Man City is having. But I'm going to go for Newcastle to come away with a very close 2-1 win against Manchester City. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Hit like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all for the next one. Away the lads.